So you made it to day 6 of these 40 days of stewardship, in which we are building spiritual disciplines that are going to help us to become better managers and multipliers of the resources that God has given us. In my younger days, I did a fair amount of hiking. Now I like to do a lot of biking. Both of those are long distance activities that share a couple of the same principles. The one is you have to make some decisions in the beginning to get you to the end. And the other one is that whenever you get started and that goal seems like it's a long way off, right now my average bike ride's between 20 and 25 miles. I try to do that 3 to 4 days a week. And I can tell you, mile 1 does not feel good. But this is what I know in mile 1. I got to keep the goal in mind. And if I just keep going, even though that goal seems like it's a long way off, I'm going to get there. The same is true in stewardship and budgeting. Let's make some decisions here at the beginning, and let's keep the goal in mind, knowing that if we just keep going, we're going to get there. We've been working on our budget all week, and a budget is a tool that helps you see a long way off. It helps you to see some problems, maybe that are coming down the road, maybe some habits that it's revealing that kind of keep getting you into the same situation that you've been in. Take a look at that budget, and maybe you see, man, if I keep going like I'm going, 3 months, 6 months, or a year from now, if I don't get a hold of some of my expenses and my expenses continue to be more than my income, I'm going to fail. Your budget helps you to see that a long way off, and it helps you to make some corrections now in the beginning of the journey. The other good news of it all is that your budget also helps you to see your goals a long way off. Yeah, maybe there's some debts we want to pay. Maybe there's less bills that you'd like, some bills you like to get rid of and quit sending money to somebody else and start putting some money in your own savings account. And man, that sounds really good when you made that goal on Monday or Tuesday of this week. And man, you look and that's 1, 2, 3 years down the road. You know what? That's okay, because remember, if you just keep going, you're going to get there. But however you look at it, when you start to see that budget coming together now, that we're at day 6 of these 40 days of stewardship, I want you to start looking at a few things a long way off. So I want to bring back into our conversation today a passage that I read earlier in the week. Remember Luke chapter 14, how Jesus used the example of budgeting to talk about the mentality that we have to have in discipleship? First of all, he talked about counting the cost. He used the example of a person who was going to build a tower and didn't count the cost of it, wasn't able to finish in the end, and kind of made him look like a fool. And then he used the example of a king who is facing an approaching enemy, and he starts calculating in his mind, hey, can I win this thing? What's a decision I can make right now that's going to help me to achieve a better outcome? So listen to this part of the passage again. It says, or what king going out to encounter another king in war will not sit down first and deliberate whether he is able with 10,000 to meet him who comes against him with 20,000? And if not, while the other is a great way off, he sends a delegation and asks for terms of peace. So therefore, any of you who does not renounce all that he has cannot be my disciple. So let's think about the principle of that passage and where we are right now at this stage of our stewardship journey. I love those words. He sees what's coming against him a long way off. So again, I want to encourage you to look at your budget. What are the problems that you see a long way off that you can make decisions about now that's going to give you a better outcome? And then the other one is, what are those goals that are maybe right now they are a long way off, but again, the decisions we make now are going to affect the outcome. So here's today's action step. Let's get a rough draft of that budget done. Maybe you've looked at your income and you've looked at your expenses. Maybe you've fooled around with the app a little bit. Maybe you're doing it all on paper. However you're doing it, as we go into this first weekend of these 40 days of stewardship, let's have the rough draft of our plan. Now, it may not be perfect. It probably isn't. There's probably going to be some things you learn and some things that come to light as you look a long way off that you need to make an adjustment. And that's the great thing about a budget. It helps you to, it's a tool to kind of help you to solve those problems along the way. There's going to come some things that are unforeseen that are going to hit you along the way, and you're going to need to make adjustments. So all I'm asking you to do in this first weekend, let's have the rough draft of that budget together. As we go into Sunday at Liberty, we are going to have members of our finance team are going to be out in the foyer of our campuses. They can kind of sit down with you and coach you along. They have a tool if you're still like, man, I'm really struggling knowing what percentage of what needs to go where in my budget. They can kind of help you along the way. If you have a question of what app do you use, they can answer that too. They can help you get it set up on your phone. But we're going to have them available for you each weekend during these 40 days of stewardship, because sometimes you just need to ask a question. And hey, there are no stupid questions, so don't be afraid to ask. The stupid thing that you and I could do is just give up and quit because there was something we didn't understand and it could have been solved in a real simple way. So please ask those questions. Use those members of our finance team who are there to serve and to help us along the way. So we're getting ready for this first weekend. And remember what I said yesterday, we don't want this first weekend to be where our 40 days of stewardship goes to die. So join me back again tomorrow, and we'll talk about how to deal with the weekends and be good, faithful stewards of the resources that God has given us.